In the early 1900s, the town of Bradenton was a peaceful town on the Manatee River. It had become the county seat and center of commerce in the region. As families moved in, they found the town to be family-friendly. As the community grew, there was a need for citizens to volunteer their time to their community and the youth. Volunteering was not just a good thing to do, it was a necessity. Responsible citizens began programs to benefit the youth, including the Boy Scouts of America in 1910. In August 1914, in Detroit, Michigan, Allen S. Brown, a professional organizer, and Joseph G. Prance, a tailor, came up with an idea to develop an organization for fellowship and business networking. The name Kiwanis is an Indian name meaning, "we trade." From that name, Brown adopted the name Kiwanis as the name of the organization, and clubs were established in Detroit and Cleveland, Ohio. In Cleveland, the club began a nursery school which set out the mission of Kiwanis to have a special concern for children. In the next few years, Kiwanis clubs were established all over the country. On June 18, 1919, the Tampa Kiwanis Club was established with W.M. Rowlett as the president. One day, W.M. was talking with his brother, C.A. Rowlett, about his club and bragging about the benefits to the community. W.M. offered to have the Tampa Kiwanis Club sponsor a new club in Bradenton, if there was any interest. C.A. arranged a meeting with other leaders in Manatee County who were already volunteering their time in the community and for children. That group included William A. Manning, Elon Rood, M.O. Thomas, R.M. Bell, Whitney Curry, John T. Campbell, Dewey A. Dye, E.P. Green, Sr., W.L. Kimball, W.V. Lathrop, W.P. Kirby, G.P. Smythe, John Pope Harley, William T. Harrison, and James A. Howes. After hours of discussion, the group unanimously agreed to form a Kiwanis Club in Bradenton to be sponsored by the Tampa Kiwanis Club. On August 22, 1922, the Manatee River Kiwanis Club was chartered by Kiwanis International. What an exciting time! The original members really did not know the potential of the club. From the beginning, the Manatee River Kiwanis Club attracted the most successful, politically savvy, and civic-minded men in Manatee County. The members held a celebration at the Bradenton Women's Club on September 15, 1922, to introduce themselves to the community. Over a fine chicken supper, there were speeches and toasts as the new club set off to serve the community. The club came to have weekly meetings on every Tuesday. The first regular meeting was on Tuesday, September 26, 1922, at the Juplenor Hotel. The first slate of officers elected included H.K. Kick Talent as president, W.L. Kimball as vice president, Dewey A. Dye as secretary, and directors P.J. Cross, A.H. Flowers, F. Emery Sharp, E.P. Green, Jr., H.P. Perry, J.P. Harley, and John B. Singletary. From the very first meeting, the club began raising money for programs benefiting children. At the first Ladies' Night in December 1922, which included the re-election of H.K. Talent as president and other officers, and entertainment by a quartet including Cliff Earnshaw and W.A. Manning, money was raised for a Christmas charity to go to underprivileged children living in Manatee County. By 1923, the club became more active in civic and governmental affairs, which only helped the club fulfill its mission for children. Throughout its life, the focus of the club centered on the service to the children of the community. Since the first Christmas project celebrated by the club, members have developed programs or contributed money or labor or both towards programs for children. A few specific projects include: in 1929, the club raised funds and built 3 cabins for the Boy Scouts at Camp Flying Eagle and continued supporting the Scouts. In 1930, the club began a program for children called the Kiwanis Health Summer Camp, which was held on the banks of Manatee River and continued for many years. In 1940, the club sponsored a new club at Bradenton High School called the Key Club. In 1945, the club established and provided funding for a new program called the Boys Club of Manatee County. In 1947, the club organized the Happiness House. In 1950, the club provided funding for the Girl Scouts and to build the Little Girl Scout House on 17th Avenue West. In 1953, the club sponsors the Negro Youth Center and provides funding for the construction of the building. In 1975, the club constructed a building for 4-H. In 1992, the club buys a van for Head Start. In 1993, the club sponsors the Kids Fishing Festival. In 2010, the club establishes Christmas in August for the children in Manatee County. At the same time the club was establishing programs for children, it also provided support for many projects which would not have happened without the support from the Bradenton Kiwanis Club. In 1923, the club was formed and it sponsored a conference in Bradenton between Bradenton and Arcadia Kiwanians and Manatee and DeSoto County Commissioners to plan for a paved road between Bradenton and Arcadia. In 1948, the club built the Manatee Garden Club located on the west side of Lewis Park. In 1949, funding was provided for Veterans Hospital, which would later become Manatee Memorial Hospital. During World War II, war bonds were purchased to help the troops. In 1978, $500,000 was donated as seed money for the new Manatee Civic Center. In 1979, the club established Better Manatee Day, during which its members go out annually one day to perform labor for different organizations or locations for the benefit of the public. In 1983, the club joins the Manatee County Chamber of Commerce in creating Leadership Manatee. In 1984, property on 14th Street and 17th Avenue was purchased by the Organization for the Manatee County United Way office. In 1986, the inaugural Kiwanis Prayer Breakfast took place. Then in 1992, the club hosted the Stag Bowl, held at Hawkins Stadium at Manatee High School. In 2000, the club started American Patriotism Week to support the United States of America. In 2005, funding was provided for a 3-year grant to launch the College and Career Resource Center at Manatee High School. And throughout its life, the club has also sponsored other Kiwanis clubs all over Manatee County. The Bradenton Kiwanis Club was able to do all these things by the generosity of its members and with ingenuity. Whether by sheer genius or just hard work, the original leaders of the club created a funding source for itself and restored the economy in Manatee County by taking on a huge project. During the Great Depression, leaders with the Bradenton Chamber of Commerce were looking for ways to boost the economy in Manatee County. Tourism was the answer with the natural resources of the area. They proposed to the city of Bradenton that the city build a trailer park to attract tourists to the area. The city owned vacant land on 14th Street not far from downtown. But the city declined, stating that the city was not able to take on such a large project. The leaders in the Bradenton Chamber of Commerce then approached the Bradenton Kiwanis Club. They had the leadership and talent to consider a venture of this scope. But did they have the fortitude to take it on? The members were also all businessmen who found themselves challenged by the economy. After several meetings, the leaders were interested. The president at the time was Dan Blaylock, a successful real estate broker. He appointed a committee chaired by Robert M. Bell, the talented retailer, to study the project and begin a series of meetings. After months of planning, the club agreed to take on this enterprise. The club leased the city land from the city of Bradenton for the installation of the trailer park. The agreement was for the city of Bradenton to receive 25% of the net profits. A total of $17,000 was raised through Kiwanis, merchants, and businessmen to start construction of the park. The funds were raised, backed by bonds, and in 1936, construction started and 200 spaces measuring 20 feet by 30 feet were completed, along with 2 showers and wash houses. The lot rent was $1.50 per week. Not only was the club successful in completing the Bradenton Trailer Park, it filled the park with residents in no time, and the city of Bradenton and the club received its profits each year. Later, the park was improved, a new auditorium was completed, and in 1963 it was dedicated to the man who headed up the project, Robert M. Bell. In 1972, the club had an anniversary celebration that the mortgage and notes to acquire the Bradenton Trailer Park had been satisfied to the lender. In 1997, the trailer park was sold to park residents, and the proceeds from sale were turned over to the club's foundation. Prior to 1952, the club held its meetings at different venues in the city of Bradenton, the last one being the Tea Cozy restaurant. But in 1952, the club took the initiative to build its own Kiwanis Hall on the corner of 14th Street and 17th Avenue West, next to the Bradenton Trailer Park. For over 50 years, the club meetings took place at Kiwanis Hall with a variety of special guests. But in 2008, an opportunity came to the club while it was considering a move from its old location at Kiwanis Hall. Throughout the years, the club has given financial gifts to the Manatee players. However, the construction of the new Manatee Performing Arts building provided the members another way to contribute to the community and to build a new location for its meetings. With an additional $1.1 million contribution to Manatee Players Performing Arts Center, the club acquired a room on the second floor as the new Kiwanis Hall. In 2013, the club held its first meeting in this new and exciting location. From its beginning, Kiwanis was an organization for men only. But as times changed, so did Kiwanis' policy. In 1987, after Kiwanis International changed its policy, the club opened membership in Kiwanis clubs to women. In 1994, the Bradenton Kiwanis Club welcomed its first female member, Dr. Gladys Brannick. Then, in the year 2000, Julie Ross became the club's first female president, followed in 2004 by Connie Shingledecker and Brenda Rogers in 2005 and 2011 respectively. Since the club's inception, grants and scholarships have totaled in the millions of dollars. In fact, just since 1994, $6,486,864 have been donated to local community organizations. Shown here are just some of those that have benefited from donations over the years. Kiwanians are volunteers changing the world through service to children and communities. Kiwanis members help shelter the homeless, feed the hungry, mentor the disadvantaged, and care for the sick. They develop youth as leaders, build playgrounds, raise funds for pediatric research, and much more. No problem is too big or too small. Why? Because working together, members achieve what one person cannot accomplish alone. When you give a child a chance to learn, experience, dream, and succeed, great things happen.